Hello everybody, this is Mike Jr. II. Welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man Star Force 2 Zerker. In the last session, we ended up fighting our first boss, who was named Hyde, or at least his wave change form was named Dark Phantom. Both of those are references to, like, stories and stuff. I believe Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then Dark Phantom's supposed to be Phantom of the Opera, I believe. So yeah, hopefully I put that in the notes. But anyway, today's session is going to be kind of a side job type thing. I will be showing off some story stuff in the beginning in a second. I say in a second, probably actually in a few minutes. But actually, do not skip this episode. A lot of the stuff that I have been saving up until now that you have been seeing, including the codes at the end screen if you don't know what those are yet and all this other stuff, now is the time to watch this episode for that. I'm not going over everything now because that's not the point of this. The whole point is that we explore the codes and all that stuff as we go along in the Let's Play. But I just want to say I'm going to be explaining them here, what they do, all that different kind of stuff. So I want to let you guys know, don't be freaking out, don't be skipping this because you think nothing important's going to happen. Something important will happen. But first things first, I want to actually get my first brother in the game. So to show that off, I want to talk about, oh yeah, we actually have to save, so that's why I have to do this in the beginning of the Let's Play. So, at the beginning of the session, because if I didn't, and I accidentally didn't like, or my stuff didn't save or something, you guys would lose content. So that's the only reason I'm doing this right now, and I want to do this now just to get it out of the way. So real quick, I do want to make a point that when I was going to do my original first Let's Play, I legitimately bought my 3DS capture card for Mega Man Star Force 2. It was like one of the big things I wanted to do, because back when the Wi-Fi service was available, I bought it thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find people who enjoyed the first Let's Play. I'm going to have them become brothers with me in the game. I'll get all that extra link power. I should be able to show off all the different versions because of that, or at the very least show off the content, some of the content from the different versions. You know, things were going to be fucking great and amazing. And a week after I bought it, Nintendo announced that they were going to be shutting it down, I think within like the year or something. So because I didn't want to rush to make anything and I didn't want any issues, I decided to scrap Mega Man Star Force 2 in general. And I was going to do a different method, and then I scrapped that method as well. So it never got out of the planning stages, is what I'm trying to say. However, you can still team up with people locally, which is thank God for that. So the way you do it in this game is, number one, you actually have to fight your brother first before you... Well, you have to invite somebody, and then be able to invite them as a brother, you have to fight them first. So I'm going to do that on both versions right now. So I'm not going to be showing off the other version. I actually just have Zerker available on my other Zerker X Ninja. This is actually I originally played as Ninja, and I ended up deleting my Ninja save file when I was first going to show it off for the Let's Play that I was going to make. So I don't actually have my original Ninja save file anymore, but I do have the Zerker one, which I did cheat, so I actually have way more link power than I should. This is the one I was talking about where I said I cheated, and I have, at max, 1300 link power. Alright, anyway, we're going to do invite. Now, I guess just to show off more, I'll be the client on this, waiting. And then I'll have my other one be the host, which is just saying waiting for a client to join. So then we will join with Blaze here, this fucking loser. And don't worry about that screen doing that, it always does that. Alright, so now we have to fight our brother. Oh, I love this background. This is something we see later on in the game. Oh boy, so anyway, now that we do this, if we save our thing, we're now waiting for the brother to make their choices on their screen. Oh god, this guy is way overpowered. I wonder, this guy has the whistle that calls us forward. Would that work? Dude, that worked! Look at that shit! Oh my god. Fucking sync-knuckled my ass. So, anyway, there's not really much to say about this. I do like the music here. I think I've only ever experienced fighting online once. I don't even think I ever did it on, Star Force 3, but I definitely only did it once on Star Force 2. I think I first got the game and I was like, wow, this is way too hard. Fuck that. These guys are way too fucking crazy. Anyway, if either of us were to go to our card screen right now, I'd actually pull it up on both of our save files, and then we decide from there what to do. So my other guy's ready. Now I have to make my decision. Oh, better heal up and get a barrier going, I think. That's my decision on the whole issue going on here. God, I hate this guy, Blaze. He's such an asshole. I'd never want to be brothers with him. Alright, we got a barrier up. Hopefully he doesn't do anything crazy, and oh no! How the hell did he rip through my shield like that? What a fucking cheater, ugh. I wonder how he cheated. What kind of card was that? That was just a regular wide wave sword or whatever they call it. What the hell? Anyway, we can tell the brother our secret, and bam, we can join together. Anyway, his secret is actually fucked up. I forgot to save when I was going to do this yesterday. And I did record my session yesterday as well. I was going to save, and the secret was supposed to say Geo X Pat as a joke to the whole Pat's the best girl kind of shit. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point because it'd be kind of funny. Anyway, we can set the brother now. So we're going to register here. Now, how much link power you get from your brothers is actually dependent on how many stars they have. If you remember in the last game... Sorry. Cool. We're now brothers with Blaze, and Blaze is now brothers with us. Now, if I remember correctly, you normally only get 70-something link power, I think. It's all dependent. If you remember in the last game, once you get a bunch of stuff out of the way, you get stars for it. I think there's like 6 stars in total, or there might even be more. But you get like a bunch of stars in the game, 1 for beating the game, 1 for collecting all the standard cards, 1 for collecting all the megas, 1 for collecting all the giga cards, and then you have 1 for, defeating the SP boss, and I'm missing one. I think it's beating the secret boss, I think, something like that. So the more of those that you actually get, the more link power you have. I used to think that it's from having, like, if I were to have a bunch of brothers and then become brothers with somebody else, I would have more link power, but that actually has no deciding factor in it. It's just depending on how many stars you have by the end of the game, which one of them is just beating the game. So if you do beat the game, you also already have a high link power. So anyway, if we want to, we can also have Ruby become our brother. Who the fuck is Ruby? Well, in case you didn't know, oh yeah, I bought myself a new video game. Wait a minute, that's the female auto brother. Capcom actually did a nice here, and they allowed it so that if you are already brothers with somebody, sorry, if you have your auto brother, like Blaze is already friends with his auto brother in his game, which we don't get until like halfway through the game, you can automatically have them become your brothers when you sign up. So this allows you to kind of have an easier chance of being able to experience both versions. And if you have no fucking idea who this is, I actually made I made the one on the top left as well. I made the little mob face before mob was even a thing a long time ago. I do love that drawing though. I thought I did halfway decent. I think I specifically made the shirt red too because I liked wearing red at the time. But you can also edit the faces of your brothers, which I forgot to show off yesterday. And I figured I would make all of the Auto Brothers Dark Cloud references just because I like that series. So yep. This one is Ruby from Dark Cloud 1. She looks terrible. And trust me, she's not the worst. I want to say she's the second worst out of all the ones that I made. Some of them turned out halfway decent. Actually, I haven't even made one yet. So technically out of the 3 that I've made, that's the midway point. Alright, we are disconnecting now and getting done with this. Cool. Alright, but anyway, that's what the Brothers is all about. And now we have more link power. We actually have 2 more. I will say that, real quick, I'll probably like blur the screen a bit, but... Ruby has endgame fucking stuff because you do have to talk to them to get their stuff. Her link power isn't half bad, honestly. But, I mean, it's more than ours was when we just were friends with Luna. But, if you can't already tell, I'll try to blur one of those cards, but, we actually get, like, way end level cards here. Like, we shouldn't be seeing these until way end game, so definitely not. I made sure that for this one here, I only had bullshit cards. I had a White Meteor card, which is new to this game, which isn't that big of a deal. And then I got some other kind of support white cards already, so I didn't want to have anything super powered by this point in the game. I will have it so that each of my versions specifically show off new content, especially with what we're going to be talking about in a second. But I want to make it clear that right now that's not overpowered. Oh, by the way, I should go into my cards. Kind of like last time, you can turn off what you get a collection of cards from your brothers. You see Blaze, you see Ruby. You might notice, though, there's no Luna. Your in-game brothers do not have a selection of cards like they did in the last game, so you can't select them and then it'll roll through their favorite cards. It will do it for our actual brothers and our auto brother. It will not do it for Luna and everybody else that we become in-game brothers with, FYI. So I wanted to make that clear. So, and I'm not going to have Ruby because hers are overpowered cards and we don't need that shit now. So anyway, yeah, that's becoming brothers. That's that whole process. There's a lot more involved with becoming brothers and showing off more content with that. So I do want to let you guys know that that's not the end of that. That's not, oh, well, that's all the benefits to it. No, there's much more, but we have to get to the halfway point in the game before we do that. However, it is time for us to go forward story-wise now. Now, we gotta start making some progress with finding out who's gonna help us upgrade our star carrier. So I had a failed session of this not too long ago, which is a good reason that I was able to just, you can delete your brothers easily, so that's what I did. I deleted my brothers and just redid this. So, because I had to save when you're doing your brother type stuff. But thankfully I did that, or else I wouldn't be able to show off who we're talking to right now. But anyway, first things first, Ghost Crisis is gone, and we have Sonia. And I don't know if it's just me, but is she, like, naked? Like, I mean, now on the big screen, I'm kind of seeing more pink on the shoulder, but, like, on the DS, it really looks like she's just naked for this scene, which is... Like, again, keep in mind, she's a 5th grader, which, however old that is, what, like 11 or some shit? Yeah, somewhere between, like, 9 and 11, I think, so it's like, no, that's not good. An advertisement for Sonia's new single, Sonia Strum's long-awaited comeback. That uplifting and inspiring voice is back again. Pick up her new happy single, Happy, on sale now. It's Sonia. This billboard used to be an advertisement for Ghost Crisis. They must have changed it when I wasn't paying attention. Aren't you happy they took down the ghost you're so afraid of? I told you I'm not afraid of ghosts. Nope, Geo, you're afraid of ghosts. Don't even try to deny it. You know, it really annoys me that they didn't make that, like, an important part of the last, like, fight. Like, I think it would have been more interesting if it was like, oh, Geo can't do this, it's Ghost, he's afraid of Ghost. You know, I get that he kind of jumped into action, but I think it would have been cool for them to do a different first boss and then have Geo jump into, like, be scared to jump into action, and then we have to do, like, weird shit to get around it. I think that would have been more interesting for, like, character development, but whatever, he's had his character development already. To be fair, he had his whole first game to do that stuff. But anyway, if you didn't realize already how we were gonna be making progress with this, is that Aaron Boreal told us he was part of making the Star Carrier, so of course he should know how to fucking update it. So how Geo can't find it in his settings, I don't know. Actually, if I remember correctly, this game came out before smartphones were really that big, so, you know, it's not surprising that Geo doesn't know how to do it. Like, what? Why would I know what settings to look into? You know, what is it, a computer? Hey there, Geo, what are you doing here? Well, You want to upgrade your Star Carrier? No trouble at all. Okay, you're all finished. You now have the latest upgrade. Oh, that reminds me, I got something for you. It's called a blank card. A blank card? If you choose it in your card box, you can overwrite a wave command card on it. You probably won't be needing it anytime soon, or at all unless you bought stuff separately, quote unquote. But I thought it might come in handy someday. Geo got the blank card. Thanks! Okay then, I upgraded my Star Carrier, so now I can go to the Prez's house. Don't want to make her angry by being late. Yep. Alright, so I didn't really explain this part of the video very well, and because I ended up not doing any jobs, I figured it would be better to explain this part separately. These codes will play a big role in this Let's Play, so I want to make sure they are properly laid out so some of you at home can play along without being confused. Because of this, I'm going to scrap the rest of the video for time's sake. The only important thing I did was find an HP Mem 10 in the mailbox near Luna's house, got a Star 2 Vulcan card, and used 3 of these codes to get some items from Geo's friends. So with that out of the way, let's continue on. Mega Man Star Force 2 had a book that you could buy separately that gave you a collection of codes to use in the game. You might be thinking of the cipher codes that let you get good cards and items by sending in-game messages, but it's actually nothing like that. In a way, it's like the first game's Japan exclusive wave scanner, but more convenient. So real quick, I'll show off the book I own, then I'll talk about the codes and how to use them in the series. I apologize for the poor recording quality here, but I don't have a great setup for this. Also, any screenshots I use are the ones that Prima posted as a guide to explain the codes. So the beginning of the Wave Command card kit explains the plot of Star Force 2, which includes spoiling parts of the ending. You can also find these removable cards in the front which can be helpful for inputting codes. And the book has a page that explains where to put the cards on the original DS and DS Lite. We also have pages explaining how to input the codes in the game, how to read the Wave Command cards, and all the different kinds. There are 279 codes in the book out of, I think, 282 in the whole game. 3 codes are hidden in secret for you to figure out using the game and the book. The majority of the book is filled with these Wave Command cards, which have numbered holes representing the order and placement you will put the codes in. I really like some of these pictures because they're high-resolution versions of cards we see in the game. Other pictures seem to be unique to the book, and some are just straight-up screenshots. What I hate about these cards is how hard it is to input the codes. Black text with a white outline is the reverse of how you make readable text on any background, so you may have to look really closely to be able to read some of these. The placement of the codes are also confusing sometimes. There's this page with battle cards that have no codes on the far right side. This can make you think codes from the second to right are the far right, which will mess up your inputs until you realize it. Prima also forgot to put the numbers on all the cards on page 100, which they did have fixed on their website at one point, but I can't find it now. Thank you Mega Man Wiki for having all of these saved. Fun fact, I bought this book for my original Let's Play that I was going to do in the mid-2010s. I paid like $20 for it back then, but now even a used copy is $40 and new is almost $70. Now don't start freaking out thinking you'll need to pay that to be able to input these codes. Not only will I be posting every code in my Let's Play, you can also find them on GameFAQs and other sites. If you are a fan of the series though and want this for the novelty, then now might be the time to buy. Anyway, that's about as much information as I can tell about the book. Overall, I like the codes, I like the artwork, but I can see why this probably didn't sell well. So let's talk about how to input the codes. There are 2 different ways to input codes into the game. The first way is from the Omegasys screen. Press select and you can be brought here to input codes. Most of the codes input here are basically involving getting gifts, changing something about Mega Man, or the game itself. You can literally input any Mega Screen code as soon as you start the game. The only real limits are certain codes can't be used at the same time, they reset with the game, and the codes that give you gifts can only be used once. The second way to input codes are from the blank cards. The screen to input the code will be the same as the Omegasys screen. Keep in mind though, it does matter which screen you use to input codes. Anytime you have a code for a specific battle card, put it here. This will temporarily change the blank card into a battle card. There are 10 blank cards in the game in total. You can tell if a battle card was originally a blank card if the text is a different color. If you decide you'd rather the blank card be a different card, then press select with the card highlighted and you can change it into something else. The limits to the blank cards is that you can't have multiples of the same battle cards using them, even for the standard cards. Now the way you input the codes is similar to other games that use codes for DS games. You have to tap the bottom of the screen in a specific order and place for the codes to work. I know Naruto Path of the Ninja, the DS game I covered before my original Dragon Let's Play, did secret codes this way. Just know that you can accidentally hit the same spot twice, which is never used for any code but will mess up your attempts. The screen also has some unused space from the right that isn't inside the input area. I'm guessing Capcom used this as a placement for the cards in front of the book, or to mess with people looking up the codes online. So there are 7 different kinds of wave command codes in the game. The first kind is the battle cards, which are the only ones you will input into the blank cards. You can basically get every M and G card in the game using these codes, and even some cards that are not accessible without it. The M cards are funny to me though, because they let you pick all 3 versions to use when everybody is just going to use the most powerful version. Oh, and like with the cipher codes in the last game, the power of the SP cards change depending on how fast you beat the boss fight. So if you use these to get the SP cards early, then you will have the weakest version until you beat them at a good rank to get their power up. The first of the unavailable cards are all the standard card codes. Some are returning cards from the last game, better version of cards available in this game are completely new cards. For the unavailable M and G cards, besides one set, the rest are just reused M and G cards from the last game. So if you really like the Cygnus Wing M card, then you can use blank cards to put it into your deck for Star Force 2. Also, because we can't fight Cygnus Wing in this game, the power of the SP card will be the highest attack power in the last game. The only G cards that are unavailable are the 3 Satellite Admin G cards from the last game. This video is getting way too long, so I'm going to speed through the last 6 kind of codes. Just a reminder that the rest will be input from the Omegasys screen. The first are the G-Virus codes. They are the ones that have been on my end screen that transform the specific virus into their G variant. There is one for every virus in the game and can be helpful at getting star cards. The second are the DX codes. These are kind of like the G cards but for bosses. It will change the SP fights into DX fights. The bosses become much more powerful with more health and attack power. To my knowledge, you don't get anything different for beating them, besides one minor thing for beating all of them. The Tribe King codes, or how I'm going to call them, forms. These will allow you to transform into any specific forms, despite the version you're playing. The data card codes allow you to give Mega Man a massive power-up and abilities without ever actually having to use the ability waves, though they can stack with it. Item codes will gift you with a large assortment of items ranging from abilities, cards, money, and more. They can only be used once though, so keep track of which ones you've used. During this session, I actually used 3, which are just gifts from Geo's friends. Lastly, we have the Legend cards and Tribe Attack cards. Legend cards here are basically Geo's friends' best combo. Legend cards work the same way they do in the last game. You can only have one in your folder and they're only a one-time use card. Though you can keep getting them from the Omegasys screen. They do have their own unique dialogue, and what cards they have are related to their character. Like how Sonya will use her Heart Note M card. Tribe Attack cards are basically Legend cards, but they only use the counter super moves of the special forms. I don't want to spoil them, so that's as far as I will go. So that's it for the kind of stuff you can get from the Wave Command cards. It's honestly really cool and allows for people to play Star Force 2 in a number of different ways without having to beat the game first or having different versions. I also think it's cool that they added some cards from the last game using these codes. So now that you know what kind of codes there are, I want to make it clear that I won't be overpowering my character during this playthrough. I will only be using the underpowered unavailable cards for the blank cards, and if I use anything else, it'll only be to show off the stuff during non-story related episodes. I probably won't be using the Legend cards either. However, I will be using item cards, but only when the items that are available are possible to get in the story, or they aren't overpowered. For example, I won't be using the Sonya gift code because one of the gifts is a card that we won't get till endgame. The item cards kinda follow the story with pictures and screenshots related to what point of the plot we are in, so I will probably use that as a guideline. Alright, so lastly I want to explain how you can read the codes from the Star Carrier notes for this Let's Play. At the top of the carrier, we have the name of the card, and if it's a battle or legend card, I put the attack power as well. The name and the attack power were taken from the book. The battle cards are also named based off the character limit in the game, so cards like Search Missile will still be spelled without some vowels or a space. The only thing I didn't add is which element it is because I felt most were self-explanatory. Then we have the code screen I made as to where to tap the codes and in what order. I'll explain this in a bit. At the bottom we will have what kind of category the code is. Sometimes they won't be the same name as in the book, so don't use them as a reference for that. Like how I call the Tribe Attack cards Legend cards because that's what they basically are. Finally, if you're still confused as to where to put the code, the mega screen or the blank card, I have a picture to the left of the category for that. If it's our good pal Mega, do it on the mega screen. If it's a picture of the tiny battle card I made, then use it as a blank card. Hopefully that makes it easy to understand. The code screen itself is the actual input background, but with extra stuff to help people read it. I added lines to make it easier to understand which area can be tapped and forward slashes on the right of the screen that's just unused space. I will admit that the boxes aren't exactly where the stars are, but they aren't off enough for it to be an issue. Tapping the screen will cause stars to appear, and if you tap them in the right location and order, you should get your desired effect or card. I tested every one of these codes after I made them to be sure that they all worked. Since the background is the same as in the game, feel free to use some of the stars and clusters to help you with the placement. I often like to use the star near the top right as a reference. If you're curious about these codes and regional differences, then I have good news and bad news. The good news is that from what I've messed with in the Japanese version, the code should be the exact same. The bad news is that if you have the PAL version, they remove the ability to use wave codes in the game entirely. So every time you would get a blank card in the game, you would actually get 2000 Zenny. The only exception being the one you get from Mr. Boreal where you get nothing. Thanks, Capcom. With that out of the way, I hope you all understand the Wave Command card kit and the codes I will be showing off along this Let's Play. It took me the better part of a week to get all of these graphics made and tested, so I hope they add some more flair and interest into the series. My plans to show these off are basically showing the G-Virus codes when we see the regular virus, showing off the M-card codes when we fight the boss variant, and I will show off each item code as we use them in the game. Whenever I go after the SP boss, I will show off the DX codes, and when we get our special form, I will show off the codes for that and the other forms. And for every other Mega code, I'll probably do it during side quest episodes. For the unavailable or legend cards, I will show them at the end of a session like how I showed off the G cards and the Lunar Knight cards in the last game. I will end up showing off every code and might even make an episode at the end of the series dedicated to it. If you guys have any other questions, then feel free to write them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them when I can. I'm also sorry if this episode ended up a little too long. I was honestly trying to make an easy explanation and I ended up with a 5-page review of the whole thing. So I hope you take it easy and have a good rest of your day. This is Mike Jr. II, signing out.